Tara stood in the grand church hall in Lagos, wearing her simple white rehearsal dress. The hall sparkled with flowers and gold ribbons. Musicians played softly while guests chatted and smiled. Tara's hands trembled slightly. She wanted everything to be perfect. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Then the doors swung open. Everyone turned. Margaret Walker, Ethan's mother, walked in wearing a long, white gown that looked almost like a wedding dress. The air in the hall changed instantly. People whispered, eyes darting between Tara and Margaret. Tara's smile faded. Her best friend, Grace, leaned closer and whispered, she didn't. Margaret moved slowly down the aisle, smiling confidently, acting as though the attention belonged to her. She went straight to Ethan and stood beside him, smiling for pictures as if she were the bride. "Oh, darling," she said sweetly, her voice full of false innocence. "I didn't realize white was such a big deal. It's just my favorite color." A few people gave awkward laughs. Others looked away, uncomfortable. Tara forced a smile, gripping her bouquet tightly so no one would see her hands shaking. Her heart pounded in her chest. Ethan's expression hardened. "Mom, can I talk to you for a second?" he said quietly. Margaret didn't move. Her tone turned cold. "It's my rehearsal too, Ethan. Remember who's welcoming her into this family." Tara felt her throat tighten. She nodded politely to a guest, pretending she didn't hear. Then, without saying a word, she walked toward the restroom. The moment the door closed behind her, tears rolled down her cheeks. She covered her mouth to stop a sob from escaping. Grace rushed in after her, angry and protective. "She's doing this on purpose," Grace said. "You can't let her walk all over you." Tara wiped her tears and took a deep breath. "If I fight her, she'll win in front of everyone," she said softly. "I can't ruin this." Grace stared at her, her eyes filled with both frustration and pity. Tara looked at her reflection in the mirror, her face pale, her eyes red, and tried to find her composure again. She forced a small, shaky smile. Back in the hall, Ethan stood watching the restroom door. He could see the pain in Tara's eyes even from afar. His mother stood proudly beside him, pretending nothing was wrong. Ethan's heart was torn, between the woman he loved and the mother who refused to let go of control. That Tara's background is modest. She was raised by a single mother who taught her that dignity is worth more than money. Her mother always said, "People may forget what you wear or where you live, but they'll remember how you carry yourself." Those words stayed with Tara through every struggle. Life was not easy for her growing up. Her mother worked long hours as a teacher, while Tara helped take care of her younger sister, Grace. When Tara got older, she worked part-time jobs to pay for nursing school. She often studied late at night, too tired to sleep but too determined to give up. She also helped Grace start a small beauty business, even when she barely had enough for herself. Despite all the hardship, Tara learned to stay calm, kind, and respectful. Her mother always reminded her that pride and humility can exist together, that true class doesn't come from money but from character. Ethan's world, however, was very different. He came from a wealthy and well-known Lagos family. His mother, Margaret Walker, was elegant, powerful, and proud of her social status. She hosted charity events, attended exclusive parties, and loved being admired. She had always imagined her son marrying someone from the same circle, someone who could add to the family's reputation. When Ethan first brought Tara home 2 years ago, Margaret smiled politely. She welcomed her with warmth, or so it seemed. But behind that perfect smile, she had already decided that Tara didn't belong. At dinners, she would forget Tara's name, pretending it slipped her mind. "Oh, I'm so sorry, dear, what was your name again?" she'd ask with fake sweetness, making everyone laugh awkwardly. She'd offer Tara designer dresses and jewelry, saying things like, "So you don't feel out of place when we go out?" And sometimes in front of her friends she'd say, "Tara is such a sweet girl, just not very sophisticated." Each word cut deep, but Tara always kept her composure. She smiled politely, even when her heart ached. Ethan would defend her. "Mom, that's not fair," and try to change the subject. But deep down, Tara knew Margaret didn't see her as family. Things got worse after Ethan proposed. The fake smiles disappeared. Margaret started interfering with wedding plans, questioning every choice Tara made. The venue, the guest list, even the food. Ethan tried to keep peace between the two women. "She'll come around," he said. But every time Tara believed him, Margaret found a new way to remind her she didn't belong. A year ago, Tara lost her mother, the one person who always knew what to say when life got heavy. The house felt emptier, and the world felt quieter. Sometimes, when Tara couldn't sleep, she would replay her mother's last words in her mind. Don't fight to be accepted. Let your worth speak when the noise stops. Those words became her strength. Whenever Margaret tried to break her confidence, Tara would take a deep breath and remind herself, I don't need to prove anything. Now, with the wedding just days away, Tara finds herself at a crossroads. She loves Ethan deeply. He's kind, loyal, and gentle. But she also sees his silence when his mother crosses the line. Grace, her sister, sees it too. You deserve someone who protects your peace, Grace often says. Tara knows she's right, but she can't imagine walking away from the man she loves. As the wedding draws closer, the tension grows thicker. Every meeting with Margaret feels like a quiet battle. Every smile hides a new insult. Tara is no longer just preparing for her wedding. She's preparing to test the strength of her love and the courage of the man she's about to marry. And deep inside, she wonders if Ethan will finally stand up, not just for her, but with her. After the embarrassing scene at the rehearsal, the family dinner that evening feels cold and tense. Everyone sits around a long table filled with expensive dishes, but no one seems hungry. The air is heavy. Tara sits quietly beside Ethan, trying to act normal, though her heart is still aching from earlier. Margaret sits at the head of the table, smiling like nothing happened. Her voice fills the silence. I must say, she begins, it's wonderful that Tara is trying so hard. For someone from a simple background, she's really done her best. Some guests chuckle softly, unsure whether to laugh or stay quiet. Tara's cheeks burn. She forces a polite smile, then slowly excuses herself. I'll just get some air, she says. Her voice shakes slightly. Outside, she steps onto the balcony. The cool Lagos evening breeze touches her face. She grips the railing and finally lets out the tears she's been holding in all day. She feels small, not because of her background, but because no matter what she does, it never seems enough for Margaret. A few minutes later, Ethan joins her. His face is tight with anger. I'm sorry, he says quietly. I'll talk to her again. Tara turns to him, her voice tired. You've been talking to her for 2 years, Ethan. She's not listening. He sighs and looks away. She's just stubborn. Tara gives a bitter laugh. No, she's cruel. And you keep hoping she'll stop if you stay quiet. Ethan runs a hand through his hair. He looks like he's carrying a heavy weight. After a long pause, he finally says something that makes Tara's stomach drop. She threatened to pull her financial support for the wedding, he admits. She said she won't show up if we don't do things her way. Tara blinks, confused. What do you mean by that? He looks at her, guilt written all over his face. It means we might have to choose between peace and pride. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Tara stares at him, shocked. So you're saying if I don't let her control everything, she'll destroy our wedding? Ethan doesn't answer. His silence is answer enough. Tara steps back, her heart breaking. And what will you choose, Ethan? She asks softly. He looks at her helplessly. I just want everyone to be happy. Tara shakes her head. That's impossible when one person wants to own the happiness. She walks away, her mind spinning. Later that night, Tara sits in her room, trying to calm herself. Grace walks in, holding her phone, her expression full of anger. You won't believe this, she says. Margaret called the wedding planner. She changed everything, the flowers, the colors, even the decorations. She said it should match her vision. Tara feels her chest tighten. What? She whispers. She told them to cancel your rose theme, Grace continues. Now it's all gold and white, like her gown. Tara sits in silence, staring at nothing. Slowly, it becomes clear to her. This isn't just about a wedding anymore. It's not even about family. Margaret doesn't want to celebrate love. She wants to control it. For the first time, Tara realizes she's not fighting for a ceremony. She's fighting for her voice, her place, and her dignity. And she's no longer sure if Ethan will fight beside her. The next few days are complete chaos. Nothing goes as planned. Every detail that Tara carefully arranged for her dream wedding is suddenly being changed. Margaret takes full control. She sends out new invitations, bold and flashy, with her name printed above Tara's. The Walker family wedding, they read in gold letters, as if it's her own event. Tara's name appears at the bottom in smaller print. When Tara confronts the wedding planner, the woman looks uncomfortable. "I'm so sorry," she says. "Mrs. Walker said these changes were approved by the family." Tara's chest tightens. "I am the family," she says quietly, but it doesn't stop there. Margaret fires Tara's chosen makeup artist, saying she doesn't meet family image standards. She hires her own expensive stylist instead, someone Tara doesn't even know. Then, gossip begins to spread online. News blogs post pictures from the rehearsal dinner, with headlines like, "The Walker family wedding, mother and son's grand affair." No one mentions Tara by name. Not one single article calls it her wedding. Grace is furious. She storms into Tara's apartment one evening, throwing her phone on the table. "They're erasing you," she says. "You don't have to go through with this. Walk away. You don't have to prove anything to anyone." Tara sits quietly, staring at the screen showing Margaret's smiling photo. Her voice is soft, but steady. "If I walk away now, she wins. She'll tell everyone I wasn't strong enough for their family." Grace shakes her head. "And if you stay, she'll still make you feel small. Tara sigs deeply. Maybe. But I need to stand my ground. For me, not for her." Meanwhile, Ethan tries to make peace. He runs between his mother and Tara like a tired referee. "Please just hold on," he keeps saying. "After the wedding, things will calm down." But every time Margaret insults Tara in front of others, Ethan stays quiet. Every time Tara needs him to speak up, he freezes. One afternoon, during a cake tasting, Margaret remarks loudly, "Oh, poor thing, she's not used to this kind of luxury." The guests laugh. Tara looks at Ethan, hoping he'll say something, anything. But he only presses his lips together, pretending not to hear. That silence hurts more than Margaret's words ever could. Later that evening, Tara tells him, "When you don't defend me, it feels like you agree with her." Ethan looks guilty. "That's not true. I'm just trying to keep peace." Tara's voice breaks. "Peace isn't silence, Ethan. Peace is when you stand beside me, not behind me." He reaches for her hand, but she pulls away. "You said you love me," she whispers. "Then show it when it matters." The tension grows heavier as the wedding day draws closer. The staff walks on eggshells around Margaret. The decorators whisper in corners. Grace barely hides her anger anymore. The night before the wedding, Tara can't sleep. She walks through the quiet hotel hallway, hoping a little air will help her breathe. As she passes by one of the suites, she hears a familiar voice through the half-open door, Margaret's. Curious, she pauses. Margaret is on the phone, her tone sharp and confident. "Once this wedding is over, Ethan will see who she really is," she says. "She won't last in our world." Tara freezes. The words hit her like a slap. She steps back, covering her mouth to stop a sob. Margaret continues, laughing softly. "Oh, don't worry. He'll come back to his senses. He always does." Tara quietly walks away, her heart breaking in slow motion. She reaches her room, closes the door, and sits on the edge of the bed. She doesn't cry right away. She just sits there, numb, empty, tired. For the first time, it's not Margaret's cruelty that hurts the most. It's the realization that Ethan might never truly stand up for her. Grace finds her later, sitting silently in the dark. "You heard something, didn't you?" she asks gently. Tara nods. "She said I won't last in their world." Grace takes her hand. "She's wrong." Tara looks down at her engagement ring, her voice quiet but firm. "No, she's right about one thing. I don't want to last in her world. I want to build my own." That night, Tara makes a silent promise to herself. No matter what happens tomorrow, she will no longer let anyone decide her worth. Not Margaret. Not the guests. Not even Ethan. Wedding day morning. The church is full of people, shining with gold decorations and white flowers. Reporters and photographers wait outside to capture every moment. It's supposed to be a day of love and celebration. But under the surface, tension is everywhere. Margaret arrives first. She steps out of her car wearing the same white gown she wore to the rehearsal, only grander, brighter, and covered in crystals. The crowd gasps as she walks in. Cameras flash, guests whisper. "Isn't that the same color as the bride's dress?" someone murmurs. But Margaret just smiles proudly, pretending not to hear. She moves gracefully to the front row, greeting guests as if she is the star of the day. "It's such a special moment for our family," she says sweetly, posing for photos. A few minutes later, Tara arrives. Her dress is simple and elegant, with soft lace and a calm glow that makes her look like peace itself. She steps out of the car slowly, her face calm but unreadable. Grace holds her hand. "You look beautiful," Grace whispers. Tara gives a small nod, her eyes steady. Inside the church, the music starts. Everyone rises as Tara walks down the aisle. Ethan stands at the altar, his eyes on her, full of love, pride, and something else, determination. When Tara reaches him, they hold hands. Pastor Daniel smiles warmly and begins the ceremony. The atmosphere slowly softens. For a moment, everything feels right. Then, Pastor Daniel says, "Before we begin the vows, would either of you like to share any personal words?" Ethan hesitates for a second, then takes the microphone. His voice shakes slightly. "Before I say my vows," he begins, "there's something I need to reveal." A low murmur runs through the crowd. Margaret's smile freezes. She looks confused, then uneasy. Ethan glances at Tara, then at his mother. "A few weeks ago," he says, "my mother reminded me what family means. She told me it's about protecting our name, our reputation. But what she forgot is that family isn't built on a name. It's built on respect." The guests fall silent. All eyes are on him. Ethan turns to Tara. "Tara," he says softly, "when you walked into my life, you didn't just love me. You reminded me who I wanted to be. A man of honor, not pride. A man who chooses what's right, not what looks perfect." Tara's eyes fill with tears. She wasn't expecting this. Ethan then turns back to the audience, his voice now firm and clear. "So today, before God and everyone here, I want to do something important. I'm giving Tara the home my mother promised me years ago." Margaret's eyes widen. A few people gasp quietly. But Ethan isn't finished. "And I'm changing my surname," he says, "from Walker to Lawson, my mother's maiden name. The name that once stood for pride, now stands for change. Because love doesn't need approval. It needs partnership." The church erupts in whispers. Gasps echo across the hall. Some people look shocked, others emotional. Cameras click rapidly, capturing the moment that will soon make headlines. Margaret sits frozen, her face pale. The confident smile she wore all morning fades completely. Her hands tremble in her lap. She looks around, seeing the stares and hearing the whispers. Her power, her control slips away in an instant. Pastor Daniel nods gently, clearly moved. "That was beautiful, son," he says softly. "Shall we continue?" Ethan takes Tara's hands again. "Always," he whispers. Tara can barely speak. Her heart races, not from shock, but from relief. For the first time, she feels truly seen. She finally realizes that Ethan chose her, fully and publicly, even if it cost him everything. As they exchange vows, Margaret quietly lowers her gaze. Her son's words echo in her head. Family isn't reputation. It's respect. By the time Ethan and Tara say, "I do," the entire church is filled with emotion. Some guests wipe away tears. Others clap softly, touched by what they witnessed. Margaret remains seated, silent and still. A proud woman finally defeated, not by anger, but by love that refused to bow to her power. In one moment, everything changes. The Walker name, the weapon Margaret used for control, loses all meaning. Ethan's simple choice turns it from a symbol of pride into a lesson in humility. And Tara, once humiliated and doubted, now stands stronger than ever. Not as the woman who married into the Walker family, but as the woman who inspired its greatest transformation. Margaret storms out mid-ceremony, humiliated. Cameras capture every second of it. Guests whisper, phones record, and before the event even ends, clips begin spreading online. People post comments like, "That bride handled it with such grace." Finally, someone stood up to a controlling family. By the time Tara and Ethan step out of the church, the world has already taken their side. Reporters wait outside, not for gossip, but to praise them. Ethan's bold speech becomes the talk of the town. At the reception, the mood feels lighter. The tension from the past weeks melts away. Laughter fills the room. Friends come to hug Tara, telling her how proud they are. Then quietly Margaret walks in. The hall goes silent for a moment. Everyone turns. Her face looks softer now, tired, humbled. She walks straight to Tara, holding a small envelope. "Margaret," softly, "you handled it with grace." More than I would have. Tara looks at her, calm but firm. Tara, I didn't handle it for you. I did it for me. There's no anger in her tone, just peace. For the first time, Margaret nods in respect. She places the envelope in Tara's hand and walks away quietly. Inside the envelope, Tara later finds a note. Welcome to the family, truly. The music starts again. Ethan takes Tara's hand and leads her to the dance floor. They sway slowly under the soft lights, smiling at each other like all the storms have finally passed. Grace stands nearby, watching them. Tears fill her eyes, but they're happy tears. Grace whispering, Mom would have been proud. Tara smiling, I think she was watching. The camera pans out. The lights glow warm around them. For the first time, Tara feels free, not just as a bride, but as a woman who stood her ground with dignity. She didn't win by fighting. She won by staying true to herself. And that became her real victory. The next morning, Tara wakes up to soft sunlight shining through the curtains. She notices a small envelope slipped under her hotel door. She picks it up and opens it slowly. Inside is a handwritten note, the handwriting neat and familiar. It's from Margaret. Margaret's note. For what it's worth, I see now why he chose you. You made him better. Take care of my son, not my name. Tara reads it twice, her eyes filling with tears, not of sadness but peace. She folds the note carefully and presses it to her heart. Then she walks to the window, looking out at the morning sun. The city below sparkles, alive with new beginnings. She lifts her hand, and her wedding ring catches the light, shining bright and steady. Utara, voice over. Some people wear white to steal the spotlight. Others wear it to start new. I guess in the end we both did. A soft smile spreads across her face. The chapter that began in pain ends in quiet victory. Tara finally feels free, loved, respected, and proud of the woman she became. The screen fades to white. Hi besties. Two hearts, thank you so much for watching till the end. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. See you in the next one. Bye. Cherry Blossom Sparkles.